All right, so I guess this will be my template. And now that I redrew the circle in there, now you can really see all the space we have down there and how it ends right there. So, all right, I guess we're just gonna do this the old-fashioned way. I'll start drawing lines on here so we can find out exactly where these radiuses are. First thing we'll do is we will, I guess, shape this whole eyelid area. Probably won't have quite the radius this is, but truth is, there's like, I mean, 5 different radiuses in here. Like this right here feels like about a 3/4 inch radius. This right here feels about like a 1/4 inch radius. It's everywhere. Now I understand that the body is formed coming down and coming across. So I understand that, but we can definitely do better. If this wasn't hit and this is factory, which I believe it is, we'll definitely do a lot better than this. All right, let's grab some aluminum and start making it. Here's some aluminum. Here is our pattern, which I cut into sections, so it'll be easier to create this. I may have jumped the gun by cutting it into 3 pieces, but you can still see that it's concaved. And this one's convexed, and this one's pretty flat. I guess the other thing is to... Here's the part that's going to fit. Here's the base, the lens, which I don't think we're going to need actually. All right, I guess let's start this. So the first thing we'll do, I think, is we are going to start with building this. Building the centerpiece and radiusing it over. Now, what we will do is measure this. So this is 2 7/8. So we will go, we'll say 3 inches across. And this is obviously 4 inches because it's concaved right now. So 3 inches is where we're going to start. So we'll start 3. That's what's going to be the diameter. That's this right here. It's already 3 inches. And then we will add another, I guess it really doesn't matter. Just add another inch to it and we'll trim it back. So I guess this will be 6 inches. So we'll have no problem doing this with this. Okay, we'll have that. We will need a center punch. All right, that'll be easy. Some Dicom. And I really should invest in the spray Dicom. All right, should be more than enough for now. You're going to make this 5 inches. So this will be, let's say 2.5 by 2.5. All right. Now, All right, there we go. 2.5. There we go. Perfect. All right, I guess we'll cut that out and we will go from there. So this is what I like to do to make round pieces. As you can see, this thing is obviously not round, but what I do is I take a piece of scrap wood and on the corners I will drill and put a screw in to hold something flat. So like this, I already drilled it. Take a screw. Put it in here. There it is. Loosen up just a little. There we go. Now, this thing will spin. Go over to the sander. Put it right up against the disc. Put a couple of clamps on it. Now once I turn it on, it'll just start sanding and sanding and sanding, tapping it in till I get the diameter I want. Good news is it'll be completely centered to the drill hole, and when I need to cut out this area right here, just use a hole saw. It's already got the centering in it. Be a perfect center. All right. Let's start grinding. All right, and that's what we end up with. A perfectly round circle. So, take it apart. Beautiful. All right, well, that is 5 inches across. That should give us more than enough room. Oh yeah, beautiful. All right, next thing is, after looking at that, that will not work because that's exactly the size of the chrome ring, not the size of the rubber. So we will make another one and start hammer forming. Not a big fan of particle board, but for 1 or 2 pieces, especially with aluminum, we'll have no problem at all. So, okay, so there's our blank. There's our pattern. And what I did is I cut it and laid it on our blank, measured across it. It's 4 inches across. So what I did, took a blank, drilled a hole, find center, measured out 4 inches, drew a line, measured out 3 1/8 because across here is 3 inches even. So I figure what I'll do is at the very least, I'll give myself an 1/8 inch, so a 16th inch on each side so that this thing sits nice and flat. Then after that, all I got to do is cut the 4 inch, radius it. Still haven't figured out what kind of radius I want to put in there. I'm thinking kind of like this one where it was, I believe, an 1/8 inch radius. That's where we'll start from at least. See what that looks like. So, all right, all I need to do is cut this out, cut a radius in it, cut the blank that goes on top of it, put that on, screw them together, and start hammer forming. All right, so here's we got the centerpiece. That's what's going to sit on here. This will sit on there, no problem. Then we got the top it sits on. Now, after I looked at that, God, that makes a big sandwich. I didn't like how thick that was. It's 3/4 of an inch thick. So what I ended up doing is I ended up making one out of steel. Exact same way as I made the other one. Now at least I'll have more place or more area to be able to hammer into. Now the next thing would be drill them out, screw them together, get it in a vise, and start hammering them. Start hammer forming it. This will be plenty fine to make 2 of them. So, all right, I guess that's our next step. All right, so here she is, all sandwiched together really nice. And we just start hammering it slowly. You don't want to take full swings at this. You want to fold it over gradually just so that you can... You always have to tuck the aluminum into itself, because obviously we're shrinking right now. So there. So I made 1 pass around it, and as you can see, it's starting to fold over real nice. See the waves in there? That's what we want. That's gonna start. We're gonna start tucking those and bending them in a little bit better, a little more. As we go around, we just keep hitting each tucking it. You'll have this hoop that comes up, hit it down. Go all the way around, have a hoop that comes up, hit it down. Eventually it will all tuck together and we'll have essentially a bowl. Looking real good. Real happy with that. There we go. Looking better. Closer and closer. The hammer's a little bit too aggressive. It's one thing you don't want to be is you don't want to be too aggressive with this. All right. Well, just keep going. It's a slow process, and it'll take some time, but it will come around. I'll probably have to do a lot more shrinking. Yeah, this isn't tight. This isn't like a 10-15 minute process. This can go on for half hour, because as you're tucking and tucking and tucking, it's going to open up some other places. So you're basically fighting it back and forth. But we will get this. So it's been taken apart, and here's what we end up with. So what I did was grab a small anvil like this, slapping hammer, a few dents in here. So we'll take all those out. Be easy. So we're same radius as this, so we'll just go at it. A lot of this is just going to be touch and feel now, and if you feel a high spot, put it on here. There it is. Completely gone. Okay, well, there's a high spot here. So now we'll... You never strike it directly, you always side swipe it. It's the way to use these the right way. All right, better. It's a nice thing about metal. If you bend it the wrong way, all you got to do is hammer it back. Well, we'll just keep going, but we definitely have it. A few more hits, maybe another 20 minutes, half hour, and it should be done. All right, I guess we'll get back to it then. Well, this is why they call it R&D. So here's our pattern still. The end. All right, and here is our blank. Nicely hammered down. Nice form. There's only one problem. Putting this inside here, you have probably a good solid 3/4 of an inch front to back. And went and tried it on the car, and this is beyond too big. So that will not work. So what I did is I created this, a smaller version. Now, problem is this still is the size of this. So we need the bottom to be at least that flat, at least this diameter. Take a small, much thinner piece of aluminum and just kind of bent it around. Same thing, this. Oops. And this is what came out. Much, much better. Matter of fact, when I fit it to the car, it fit perfect. This is exactly what we want. Now the problem is this fits inside here and it radiuses up. So, I believe a 1/2 inch radius that this is too big. So I am going to make one more piece like that using this as my diameter. No, can't use this as my diameter because it's the same size as that. So it will have to be just a shade bigger than that. Yep. So I'll make another piece this size and put a smaller radius like this, which I believe is a 1/4 inch radius, and then start hammer forming it. I believe that'll work much, much better and fit the car better. But, well, I mean, that's how you learn. All right, I guess let's make a new blank and let's cut it from the aluminum and we'll go from there. All right, so here's the new blank. that has a 1/4 inch radius instead of a 1/2 inch. I think that'll actually do better. Probably a little more work hammering it, but okay. And I actually felt that maybe this was a little bit too big. I measured across here, it was actually 3 1/4. I measured across here, and this is actually just under 3 inches. I was giving myself like an 1/8 inch on each side roughly, and I think that may have been too much also. I think that's what's going on with the car itself, is that because there is such a heavy radius in there, that's why this doesn't fit right. So we will try it with a smaller radius this time. And that should be a little bit easier. All right, so I guess we'll start here. We will go a solid, I don't know, let's go about another 1/2 inch around. Should be the easiest way, I guess. There we go. All right, so I just wonder. No. You know what? We're going to try this. That'll be pretty good. There we go. Close enough. All right, well, cut it out, drill a hole. All right, set it up, and we will drill it and start going after it again. All right. Now the one thing is with these, especially with this, you don't necessarily need to have this perfectly round. It's mainly just so as you're folding it over, you need a little bit of edge to this, obviously. The bigger the disc, the harder it's going to be to fold over. Even with this one, I ended up cutting it. I ended up cutting the edge off of it so that it would fit better, because you're not folding so much mass over. So I cut this one. I don't need to necessarily deburr it, but what I will have to do now is, this is the new form. So what we'll do, and this does fit tight, so that's what we want. Nice tight fit. All right, there we go. And now back to the vise using hammer, and we will take this one down. I won't bore you with the video of watching me do this again. You've already seen it on this one. It's exactly the same. Hopefully this one will be a little bit smaller. All right, I'll be back. All right, so we went from here to now here. And I gotta admit that I was a little concerned about this 1/4 inch radius. That might be too harsh on the edge, but I'll need to clean it up a little bit better. But all in all, it is nice and round. It took that corner perfectly, and I gotta tell you, this looks like this might be the winner. Surprisingly, it could have gone even a little bit low. No, that's probably about perfect. All right, well, let's take it over to the car and see what happens. That is near perfect. Make it for that side. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. All right, well, I guess that's the winner. All right, I think that should probably be enough for tonight. Just getting these made and getting them to fit. They seem to fit real well, so pretty happy with it so far. Start playing around the edge in here. Start setting up to work this side out to that side. It's definitely a mess. So, all right, well, until next time, I guess that's it for now.